we like to celebrate the year that was at AFN. And one of the things that we like to be able to celebrate is our tremendous chiefs of staff that we come across all the time. Kristina, over the past year, has demonstrated just what a fantastic job she does for her company, what a thoughtful person she is. And we're really excited to celebrate her as our 2025 Chief of Staff of the Year. And I'm excited to just talk for a few minutes with Kristina here today. I want to thank Kristina for being our Chief of Staff of the Year. We have so much respect for what she has done, and I'm excited to be able to talk to you today about the award, Kristina, and about what you do.
Thank you. And I really appreciate the acknowledgement.
Just tell us a little bit about what winning this award means to you. What does it represent for you?
This really feels like a moment of reflection for me. I've been, and you know this, committed to learning for so many years in any role that I've been in. I'm the youngest child, so I learned to learn from other people's mistakes. Also, I never really shied away from getting into the operational work and getting out there, sorting packages, meeting people on the floor. So that was part of my learning. And then a couple years ago, when I met you guys, you opened up a new window for me, a window of learning about leadership and delegation and just all the cool things, self-awareness, clarity. Just there's so many topics that we talked about all over the years. And that has really shaped how I think about a chief of staff role. So being recognized by you guys is really valuable to me.
Yeah, and I mean, just to maybe jump on to a few of the things that we really appreciate about you. So you talked about how you're willing to jump in and do a bunch of stuff, but we also see the degree of humility by which you go about your job and the constant curiosity that you apply into your position as well. And we love to be able to see that. When you're thinking about the chief of staff position, what's one piece of advice you'd give someone that they're like, hey, I think I want to do this?
Mm. No, it's complex and it depends from organization to organization. But I'd say there's one foundational thing, and that's trust. You gotta build trust. It's what gives you access to information, to people. It's what gives you credibility. And at the end, it's what gives you influence without the formal authority, because usually you don't have it. Technically, people don't have to come to a chief of staff for approval for anything. So if you want people to come to you, you gotta earn their trust, and they will come and follow your advice. And that's when you really start adding value to your principal, because you can finally be able to act as their extension. So I was fortunate. I've been with this company for a long time, so I knew many people once I stepped into the chief of staff role. And actually, the trust that I built over the years is what kind of brought me into the role. But once I stepped into the role, it kind of got even harder. It shifted. I already had the trust. I had to maintain that trust, but then I also had to build trust with people that I didn't work with so far, with the new employees, including executives that came on board. So I'd say that trust is really the key in this position. And my advice to an aspiring chief of staff would be build trust early and keep at it, just keep earning it.
And it sounds like that's really a big part of the key on how you got the position to begin with, is building that trust that was there. What did it actually look like when they said, Kristina, we need you to do this position?
My first chief of staff role in this company was to the chief of ops. And my response was, I'm not going to be your secretary, so forget it. But, we talked about it for so long, and our ops team grew so quickly around COVID. They asked me to step in and help basically connect the dots. At that point, I already traveled to China for the company. I traveled around the US. I met so many people around our locations and facilities. And that really helped in the position of chief of staff for the ops team. And then a couple years later, they asked me to kind of step up and serve as the chief of staff for the broader executive team. And this came with a completely new set of responsibilities and new challenges. So yeah, it's been fun, but that operational knowledge, I want to say, really helped me in my position.
When you moved up to the executive team, being chief of staff for the full executive team, what do you think they thought they were getting with that?
I don't think anybody really knew exactly what was
Okay.
going to happen. Um, my original goal was to help us get organized as the company was growing, with some additional meetings for the executive team, and just making sure that the things we try out and that work are actually built into our regular processes, and also building the bridge between the broader org and the founder was one of my key roles, and still is. Yeah, I think it evolved over time, what I'm doing now versus what they originally asked
Sure.
me to do. But yeah, that's the nature of the role. It basically grows with the company.
Great. You talked about a lot of things that you've learned in different topics that you've learned about in the chief of staff office hours. What do you think about chief of staff office hours really allows you to internalize those learnings? What makes it the place that you like to come back to again and again?
Mm. It's It's crazy because we talk about things that apply to work. So it is office hours are an extension of work and my work self, but at the same time, they allow me to step out of the execution mode and reflect on things that are going on at work without even having to disclose them. It's really interesting how the concepts that we discuss are applicable across the board to different organizations. And then just compare notes with our peers that face similar challenges in completely different settings. It's really also a sanity check for me. Sometimes it can be really lonely in my position. I'm not, just because of trying to maintain the trust that I earned so hard with my key stakeholders, I'm not able to discuss with other people what are the key challenges that I face, and discussing concepts that are so broadly applicable to so many of the challenges that I face is really helpful. Another thing that's been really great about the chief of staff was meeting different coaches. Love working with everybody, and it's really interesting how different people bring different expertise and different open our eyes to different aspects, and just add more to my reading list that I can barely keep up with at this point. Last but not least, about chief of staff office hours, the community there. I've built so many friendships and relationships through the group. Nobody can really understand better than this group what is the complexity of work today, with many companies working in a hybrid mode and dealing with Gen Z, and is just very interesting to be able to discuss that with people who think in a similar way and value similar things. Yeah.
So the chief of staff office hours, it's all virtual, it's all over Zoom.
Mm.
And yet you talk about this community that's developed out of it. What do you think allows us? Because we were lucky enough to meet you this year in
Yeah.
person, face to face. It turns out we all got legs, which was good to see. But what do you think that doing this in a virtual format is tough to connect with people? How does that happen?
It is very hard. You really got to be mindful and focus on what you're doing. Just Even I talked to Betsy, who is your chief of staff, and I was like, you know what, Betsy, I really look up to you, and I'd love to connect outside of the office hours. And she was like, I never knew that. It's very interesting how we get wound up with the topics that we talk about, but then you gotta step away and think about, okay, these people are cool. These are some people that I want to build further relationships with. So I want to give a shout out to your team, to Betsy, and especially to John, who originally invited me to join. I'm grateful he did.
Yeah, we're very lucky with our team. Anything else that you'd want to share today?
Well, I want to thank you guys. I'm grateful for the recognition coming from you and the space that you create for learning and for connection with people who think alike. And what else? Yeah, I want to bring up a thing that you guys do. You taught me so much about resilience throughout the sessions that we had. So one thing that I'd leave with, an aspiring chief of staff should definitely think about building micro practices into their day, because this work is so hard and so stressful. Just build resilience in a small way, small intentional ways every day. That's going to help you out. That's, I want to say, key learning for me from AFN last year.
Excellent. Well, Kristina, thanks so much. We really appreciate you. Glad to have the opportunity to celebrate you.
Absolutely. Thank you.